Good afternoon. It's Friday. The weekend has started. The weather has turned for the lesser. Well, of course it has. It's the weekend. Now, I need to warn you all. In fact, I really ought to put a banner up. I'm having a day. You know how, there are days that go swimmingly well and you don't really notice until something goes wrong or a day later and you... Hello, Head Nautica! And everything goes wrong. And, you pick it up and you drop it, or every time you walk past something, things leap off the table even though you were nowhere near it, or you walk into the door handle, literally, I am like a danger to myself through just existing today. I swear if I went for a wee, I'd probably fall in and get stuck. It's that level of day, right? And so... Forgive me for being late. I had planned, I got my alarm set, my alarm went off, I was all ready. Then I realised I hadn't topped up my drink, so I went and did that. But when I came back, I realised that 3 things had knocked themselves off my table, one of which is a pen holder. And basically, now they're all over the place. Neck kisser, good afternoon to you. It's a pleasure to see you again, my friend. In fact, it's great to see both of you. It's just one of those days, right? So as I said, everything I touch turns to poo, and frankly, in ways unconceivable to the human mind. Seriously, I couldn't drink a glass of water. I'd probably drown in it or something. That's the level of day I've got. So, I'm a little bit hesitant for the next 2 hours is this really the thing I should be doing? Oh, my dear friends, it is a hard day, is it not? Right, and if you're not having a day like me, you lucky soul. I envy you from the bottom of my heart. I'd managed to screw that up. I'd turn out I'd be allergic to the paint or something. I mean, it is that level of day, you know. And the dogs are not helping. Of course they're not helping. Rory is being overly attentive and getting in the way. Singy song annoying cow here. That's right, you shove me, that'll make me feel better. My patience has gone. I have none. And so making lace is really not the best thing. What I really need to do is, go and find somewhere like a nice hot bath and lay down for 2 hours and be locked in there so I can't do anything. I'd probably drown in the bath, but be locked in there, and so that all I can really do is lie down and just let time pass, because maybe in a while it'll wear off. The curse, I play a lot of role-playing games, and obviously curses only last for a certain period of time. And maybe if I lie down long enough, it will pass. Right. Now, we need to do the great turn. So, this is where we left off yesterday. Staring at the pile of bobbins with that moment. Right, let's start at the bottom. We need to... You're not a bad length, we'll let you live. You can go around there. You're a bit short in places. We will make you a bit longer. Yeah, you're not too bad. You can live over there. You don't seem too bad, except maybe. No, you're just caught around everything else. You're not too bad. Right, that's you. Then we start getting into tangle zone. Right, you are short. You are very short. Let's make you all longer. Oh, just sit still, dog. The bouncing and joy of dog, even though all they're doing is moaning at Farmer Giles and the non-existent things of life, is always trying. But today it just, well, it hits harder today. So, my arm's tired already. Goodness sake. How can I have been doing this for 6 months and my body still can't cope with it? See, it's a good demonstration as to, whenever you see these, like, couch to 5k, in a month kind of thing, doesn't work on me. It takes me absolutely forever for my body to improve, and it always has. At one point when I was about 18, I was able to cycle 50 miles uphill, down dale, and not particularly think twice about it. But I then had a car accident and things went a bit Pete Tong at that point, and I spent the best part of 5 years not really walking, 2 of them not at all, 5 years not really, and well, after that I wasn't fit for shit, and it'd taken me quite a while to build up to the 50 miles. I need to point that out. It'd taken me a very long time, in fact. But I literally could, if I started running, I wouldn't make it to the end of my road, which is short, by the way. Very short. And even if I did that twice a day, every day, for a month, I would probably I would still barely be making it to the end of the road. Everyone else would improve. I don't. And it takes so long. And so here I am, 6 months after doing this, and all I'm doing is lifting my arm up to grab a bobbin, turning it round a few times, and my arm is really tired. I've done 19 bobbins. I've been doing this 6 months. Everyone else, their arms, their back, their neck, their everything would have adjusted to the seating and everything else. No, not at all. Not even remotely. And it makes it very tiring. Because pain, of course, is not good for the soul. Body doesn't like it. But then it doesn't improve when it's like, well, everyone else would manage to have, improved a bit by now, and you haven't. Well, yeah, I'm used to that. The problem is, though, is people don't, when you speak to people like fitness people, they don't believe you because, of course, if they don't do stuff for about a month and they feel like death when they return, well, 3 weeks later and they're all back where they started. No. When I did karate, we used to have 2 weeks off. First week back, you felt like a sack of lead. Second week, most people were, pretty much, coping. Even doing 7 days a week, it took me a month. And I still wasn't any good. I just was now not dead after the warm-up, let alone the lesson of 90 minutes. part of the reason my black belt was so hard, because all the lessons that you do, or did when I was doing karate, and I got to my black belt, were 90 minutes. So I got to a point where I could do 90 minutes. And in certain circumstances, I could even do 3 hours. So I could do a lesson, there'd be like 15-minute break, and then do another lesson. I could do that. I'd be dead, but I could do it. 5.5 hours with one break in it. Plus I had the stress of, the fact that you're grading, and every time, your one muscle twitches, or you have to adjust your balance. You're going, they'll have seen that and failed me. They'll have seen that and failed me. I was a wreck. I was an absolute wreck. I was always convinced at grading they'd failed me, mind. Because I knew I would realise while I'm doing it, well, I did that wrong, and I don't deserve it. I told you it was always the prep work that killed me, right? This is all wonky. Only I can't see it because it's white and white and white. Can you not? Get off the pin. Whichever pin you're on, can you get it the fuck off? Okay. See, my problem is I don't really get more bouncy. Well, I do, but it takes 2 to 3 years for me to get a bit more bouncy. And of course, by then I'm sick of it because everyone else has got on really well and I'm still struggling. And, it's always been a problem for me is that even when I start maybe with a head start, in that I've done it before and, it's been a few years. Rory, get your face out of there. Within 2 months, I did gymnastics as an adult. So I had like a 10 odd year gap between doing gymnastics and doing gymnastics again. What? I love you dearly, but I would love you more if you just weren't in the way all the time, my man. But yeah, and when I went back, so I knew how to do backflips and somersaults and all, various things. I never even got back to where I'd been as a kid in the years that I did it. Whereas people who couldn't even do a forward roll when we started were now doing stuff I couldn't because My body wouldn't let me. Rory, this is not helping. No, it's not helping, my man. I don't know what you want. Well, I do, but it's far too early for that. It is. Oh, ow! For goodness sake. I assume next door's got a delivery. Well, the gardener's turned up. It'll be the gardener. But it's the gardener. But they won't be coming here, by the way. They just park on my driveway. Sounding gardenery. No. Don't know what it is. I told you these bobbins were short yesterday. Fuck's sake. So yeah, I'm just... Everything this day is hard going. Don't want these too long, because they'll just go off the edge. Now my left arm's really side. Oh. Nearly there though. Right. We've got somewhere. Whew. Oh, let's have another drink of Coke. Hang on. I'm guessing he's home and he's forgotten to turn off his alarm. Yep. Wow. It's definitely hard when they're old. I mean, Rory and Amy are rapidly approaching 5 years old. I can't believe it's 5. Can't believe it's 5 years already. You know, especially when Facebook does things like remind me of something that was almost 11 years ago, and you're like, oh, that's when they were really old. Oh, Jesus, has it really been that long? You know. Time just flies so fast for them. No. You never have to apologise to me, naughty cat. You should know that. You should know that entirely. Unlike me, who's ready to go for a sleep already. I do not see. This will not be a stream that will overrun. Let's put it that way. Yeah. Poor little pup. It's as I said, it's very hard. Sorry. Work related humour. Quite a lot. Sorry. No, I can't hide that one. Oh dear. Let's just say, what a shame. Let's do a few pushties. No, that's the wrong thing. There it is. As you well know, I have this. What I also have is this, which is a hair thing. But the end of this, when, on a table, is not dissimilar. Except I was trying to work out how I bent this. And it was like, because I only saw the end of it. Oh well. So, you need to go down, and then let's poke some of you down. Like that. scoop you round a bit. You. There we go. Scoot you round. Scoot you round. What am I doing? I was going to change direction. Oh, come on, phone, stop being an arse. Did I miss one? No. Just looks like I missed one. Doesn't help with the extra threads floating around. And the last one. Yes. Let's just say old company shares have gone down a little bit. Hang on. Oh, for goodness sake. I know that typing on a phone is not hard. I know how to spell all the words I want to spell. I know how to type them on my phone, and yet nearly every single word comes out as not the word I'm typing. I mean, there are a few that, I miss a letter. But, because occasionally dyslexia wins, right? But 99% of the words, and you type it is, and it comes out JS. Well, I didn't hit J. I hit I. I know I did. I can see it. My thumbs are not that big, Oh, for Christ's sake, dogs! All these invisible things that need seeing to. Just not in the mood. And I need to take my jumper off because I'm getting old. Why am I going sideways? Oh, I know, because I'm stupid. Whatever. Let's just do this one and then go backwards to what we were gonna do. Get out of it. Should be going this way because it's shorter. No, I probably one day I will go and watch it live. I mean, I only have to drive a mile up the road and it'll go almost past me car. I don't live far from Tewkesbury. Tewkesbury upon Flood, I think, is the best name for Tewkesbury. Or as my ex-husband calls it as he lives there, Tewkesbury underwater. Because if I sneeze, heck, no, it out if you sneeze, because half of our rain comes from your direction. Suddenly there's a flood. It's literally the tiniest bit of rain, and Tewkesbury's underwater. It is quite it is comical. It is actually comical how little rain it takes. Now, to be honest, we always knew it was bad because when Trevor and I lived together, we went to the vets in Tewkesbury. Our vet was in slap bang right next to the cathedral in Tewkesbury. And it was a bit of a trek, but he was a lovely guy and it was so worth it. Anyway, every time there'd been even the tiniest speck of rain, 1, 2, 3, 4, there was a crossroads you went past. Well, you know it's bad when the cricket pavilion is on 6-inch stilts. Seriously. We kind of went, what the fuck? And they went, oh, it's because of the flooding. What flooding? And then the next time we went, it had been raining. And as I say, you go across this crossroads, and there's like Morrison's over here, and then, I don't know, 6 foot drop to a park. So it kind of evens out the road a little bit. When the water's level with the road, just because you've had a light shower, you know how bad it is, right? I would reckon that cricket pavilion on stilts, it's even been flooded since I've been here. I've been in 25 years now, but it has repeatedly been underwater. But it's also repeatedly barely above water, and that's like 8 times a year. And so you go to park for the cathedral, and you can't, because, well, it's underwater. I mean, the cathedral's not, but, well, the road to round near, walking to, is technically not very possible. It is quite laughable. Now, Trev technically lives on a hill. I need to point this out because, well, where he lives is called Hill, right? It still gets flooded. It is. I mean, where he used to live before, in Tewkesbury, was even worse. Seriously, I seriously, if you sneezed, there is a flood outside where he used to live. So, from that point of view, he's moved to a better place. He has technically not actually had flood in his house. It's come real frigging close, but he's not actually had flood in his house. Last time, he was on the first floor and it was close. You know? He couldn't go out, but at least his shit didn't get flooded. You know, it's Tewkesbury underwater. There better be something for you to be whining at, dog. The gardener. He's come. Seriously, again? They had their grass cut last week. It hasn't grown like 0.5 millimetre. Christ. I mean, it is beginning of grass growing season, and, you know, I probably could ask him to do my lawn. He wouldn't get much, you know. But, because it is actually technically, he was my gardener, and then everyone else kind of went, can you do mine? Because I founded him. So yeah, I had to just shut up. The problem is he annoys the shit out the dogs because he parks on my driveway. I mean, he'd annoy the shit out of the dogs because he's in the road, but he really annoys the shit out of the dogs because he parks on my driveway. When the person whose lawn he is dealing with, let me stand up a sec, just to be factually and technically absolutely correct, has got 9 parking spots free. Yeah, think about that. And a double garage. And yet he has to park in my driveway because he's not allowed to park on theirs. I'm sorry, but park on theirs. You're working for them. Park on their shit. Stop annoying my dogs. It's just... And then, of course, you'll probably ring the doorbell later to talk to me about nothing and about how he had to come and mow their grass even though there was nothing wrong with it. Which I don't mind. But when I've spent 3 hours listening to the fact that you've been mooching around their garden and driving my dogs insane, by the time you come around, you don't really want to talk to me now. Talk to me at the beginning, you know, before you've annoyed me. Ha ha. Pain down my arm. Well, the problem is, for sea levels to rise 40 metres is kind of impressive. So, while you maybe do get a torrential river that may pass you on its way to the sea, perhaps, I don't imagine directly flooding is the word. Whereas, of course, I am very much inland. There is technically not even really large bodies of water around here. While I keep referring to Madam's Lake next door, this is the source of flooding around here, is the stream and the little lake thing in her garden. But it is... the stream itself, if I was to go and video the stream itself, it looks more like a slightly overflowing, toilet filling tube. It is not normally a stream of value. Now, we have seen that stream breach the banks. Now, as I said, it's kind of a trickle of weed down the bottom of a ditch. Now, the ditch is about a metre or so deep. It's actually quite a deep little cut that it's made, as water inevitably does over a very long time. It's breached. Now, it is quite wide. It's probably a metre and a bit wide at the top. So, and it's probably a foot and a bit at the bottom, right? So it's reasonably wide. Maybe even more than that. I haven't gone and stared at it recently. And I've certainly never measured it. But it is of noticeable size. There is a little bridge that goes over it. You're not going to just leap, right? We have seen that breach. We have seen that really breach, to the point my neighbour actually rang me to say, have you seen the stream? And it's like, no, why would I have seen the stream from here? We'll take a look out the window, holy shit, kind of moment. It was quite impressively up and taking over the little field that it lives in. So, I'm not going to say it would be impossible, but compared to other places around here, I mean, as I said the other day, everywhere in Gloucestershire flooded in 2007, and I mean pretty much everywhere. But the worst hit was Tewkesbury. My old house, we lost water for a bit, but that was it. That's the point. Trev was still living with me in 2007. How do I know this? Harry Potter and Trev went to get me a copy after he'd gone out to get his paper, so I know he was still there in 2007. Because we're both a bit vague as to when, what, and so it must have been around about 2008 that we split up. Anyway, but we didn't get wet. We just had no running water for a while. But other than that, didn't really affect our lives too much, because the council provided bottled water. You had to go and get it, but you had, you turned up in like Tesco car park and picked up, crate of water bottles and rinse and repeat. So, and then there was a water vat installed in the road, and then it was taken away because we got water back. And so from our point of view, and directly speaking, it rained a lot on the Friday. Water was cut off late Friday night. Other than that, we had no fresh water for a while, but that was it. And you were not needed. So, 2007 was really not that big a deal for us. Well, except for Trevor, who had been in Gloucester at the time, and had to spend about 6 hours trying to get home because of the water. I'd been up a nearby hill with the dog to take him to have swimming lessons because he had dodgy knees, so we used to take him for swimming lessons. And I'd noticed that there was a bit of trickle running down the main road, and it was quite a healthy trickle, and mentioned it to the lady and her husband who were doing the lesson. Oh, that's interesting to know. Thank you very much. I've just done that wrong. Anyway, because you two are too early. You are later. There we go. Somehow. Amy, will you shut the heck up? My tolerances of you today are very thin. Okay. So yeah. And he phoned me at about 3 o'clock to say he was stuck in Gloucester. I'm like, why? Well, it's raining. Yes, so? Well, the roundabout's flooded. That's unfortunate. He eventually managed to work around that somehow. That looks wrong. That is wrong. Oh, no, it's not. It's not. About 6:30, he was in a mood because it's 2 hours later and it does not take from 2 hours to get from Gloucester to where we lived. I'm still stuck here and, well, I can't help you with it, And I was getting a bit fed up because, I'm stuck at home. He's phoning me having a whinge and acting like it's my fault kind of thing. And it's like, I can't do anything. I can't change the weather. And I seem to recall it was nearly 11 o'clock at night by the time he got home. Now, needless to say, not in a good mood. Now, I don't blame him for this, but at the same time, it's also not my fault. And, both didn't really think to... I mean, I noticed it was rain. It had been raining most of the morning. I had noticed that it was, it had rained most of the afternoon. How can you not? But it was just rain. It wasn't like, can't see 3 meters in front of your face rain. It was just rain. So the next morning, I have a habit of this, but when the next morning came and we kind of, fired up the news and it's like, wow, have you seen all the pictures? Look at this. Tewkesbury underwater. And when I say underwater, let me give you, I can find you a photo of how bad Tewkesbury got. So, there are some horrendous pictures. Yeah, I'll do. Oh, for Christ's sake, you verify you're human. Well, I'm not exactly not human, am I? This is not going to be the best thing you can see, but let me see if I can. Of course, it's not picked it up. So, it's not a very big picture, but I can make it a bit bigger. It's a bit blurry that way, but okay. So this is Tewkesbury underwater in 2007. If I tell you that in that picture there should only be a small kind of stream looking bit of water. So the big kind of arrow, half an arrow shape at the top is not supposed to be wet. All the bit at the bottom is not supposed to be wet, right? This was Tewkesbury underwater 2007, right? And, well, as you can imagine, it was a lot of water. I mean, you can even see in the background there's more water over here, but actually you probably can't see my mouse, but couple of inches in on the right on the horizon there's a shiny patch. This was the state of play for around here in general, although I'm not in that photograph, I need to point out. But that is just down the road. Hence Tewkesbury underwater, right? Now, admittedly, it doesn't normally flood that bad, but it does at least normally flood. There are limited floods, usually. I wonder if there's a picture of the cricket pavilion. Hang on. Oh, it looks like they've rebuilt it. Yeah, they've rebuilt it, but if you see that is Tewkesbury Pavilion built on stilts, because that will be underwater a good few times a year. It is really quite scary how much water can be around here. And yet, they're still building. They're still adding houses to it. And there's a marshlands. They built a huge estate on it. And they can't get insurance. And you're like, don't. So... Let's use Hedgie because we need some extra pins. I mean, it's one of the things I never entirely understood, Nautical, is because we live round here, we are always told that the Severn swells when it's rained a lot in Wales because it's running into the Severn. So how's it coming your way? I'm sure you've seen this, right? There's nearly always somewhere where if you have driven, walked, cycled a particular set of roads, and you've got to know them, and in your head, I know they kind of do a big U shape or something, and then you see them on a map, and it's nothing of the sort, and your brain's kind. But you go down here, you kind of almost do a right angle, so you're at the bottom of the U. You go up a bit, and then you do like another right angle. So it must be U-shaped, but it's not. Somehow, it's really not. And I lived where my dad lived. You came out the road, you went up a road like this that kind of did a bit of a bend like this. And then the road that you met at the top seems to go parallel to where we were. And then you met a crossroads. Not at all. Not at all. And it's like, how does that fit? How can this be true? And so I guess the same is probably true with the river, is that there are bits of Wales that feed into it, but not in the way that you kind of imagine when they say it rains in Wales and it runs into the Severn. It's more like these 3 fields of Wales run into the Severn at, say, North Wales, and then go south via the Severn to... You see, and that's probably part of it, is that, if you look generically on a map, the Severn is not like the River Thames cutting a harsh line through the middle. It's quite easy to lose it on various scales, and so it comes along, and you kind of. I mean, we all know that rivers do a bit of this, but you don't expect it doing, and even if it does the whole Oxbow Lake thing, that's in like one field. It's not, you don't think of it on a countrywide scale. So I guess that's the thing, is that I'd never looked to see where the Severn started. Mind you, bear with me on this one, Nautical. I was always under the illusion, and again, bear with me, I have not checked, but as a child, I was given the impression that the Thames comes in kind of under Kent, right? Cuts through London as the River Thames, chop, 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 and goes all the way out the other side and goes to the estuary in Bristol. And every time I think about it, I'm never in a position to sit down and actually freaking look, I think they probably were, but to an extent, they're probably also not entirely telling fibs, in that while the River Thames maybe dwindles down to pissant stream somewhere around about, let's say it's going to be before Malmesbury and Maidenhead or whatever, but see, this is the other one. There's Maidenhead and Minehead, and I never know. And I think Minehead's in Kent and Maidenhead's in Berkshire, but somewhere around, let's say, the Berkshire level, because I know the Thames is still going strong, and it forms a huge reservoir in Staines. So I know the Thames is still good. That Yeah, but you see, that's the other thing. We all know the names of these places. Well, I would hope it would start a lot. It definitely starts and meets up with the sea in kind of towards Kent. I'm pretty confident of that one. And then shops in the middle of... Gonna pull up a map, because maybe now is the time, right? We can do this together, hang on. So, let's go down to London. So, this is the Thames. I haven't got anything I can draw, but there you go. I put spot. So the Thames starts kind of, well, technically round here. Goes chopping through the middle of London. And gets as far as Richmond. So let's zoom in here on Richmond. Then it goes down to Hampton. Out to Walton-on-Thames. I worked there at one point. Yeah. So there we are at Staines with all the reservoirs. Then we go to Datchet, through West Audley up to Bray, Clevedon, Cookham, Marlon Bishops. We're still following it. It's in Reading now. Pangbourne, see River Thames. Start up to Wallingford, Walborough. Okay, it's getting a bit thin now. River Thames, Drayton, ish, Abbey Meadows, Kennington-on-Thames. So we're at Oxford, and we're still the River Thames. We should have known that from the boat races, I guess. Now here it gets even thinner, so it goes to Godstow out here, outside. River Thames, River Thames, River Thames, River Thames. Following it across. Here we are. Lichfield upon Thames. Well, that kind of gives that away. River Thames, River Thames. It's getting down to a fucking piss trickle by now, but you know, where are we? Highworth, Cricklade. Well, see, Cricklade's not that far east. Anyway, let's have a look. River Thames, River Thames, River Thames. I'm determined to follow it and see where it goes. River Thames. So it gets to Cricklade. Well, if I zoom out, that's Cirencester. That's not that far south of me. It does seem to kind of... Oh no, River Thames, River Thames, River Thames, River Thames. Lots of frigging water, River Thames. Now it seems to be called a brook. So it comes through here. And potentially... It's now brook. So roundabout... roundabout Ashton Keys. Well, if you look, Ashton Keys is here. We're really not that far from frigging Bristol, but there are brooks and the like that continue on. So if we look and see... Oh no, River Thames. There it is. River Thames up here. River Thames, River Thames, River Thames, River Thames, River Thames, River Thames, River Thames. Okay. There you go. Start of River Thames. It's even marked. Start of the River Thames is really fucking nothing from Bristol. So I would imagine at one point it did actually cross the whole of the UK. I mean, you know, for the sake of the argument, I don't know if you saw, there's Gloucester that we were talking about, and the River Thames thing is down here somewhere. So, and Cheltenham and Tewkesbury's up here with the River Severn coming down that then goes into the Bristol estuary, right? So, it would not be too surprising if, while it says start of the River Thames, wherever it was, down here somewhere, if it almost just goes underground and comes out later. Yeah, so it's a little bit more than west of Windsor, love. It's kind of 100 and something miles west of Windsor, really. But, oh, piss off, dog. We were around here somewhere. I've lost it. Hang on. Where was... hang on. Where was it? Well, it is. It's just... so's friggin' America, you know? If you go far enough. I've lost where I had the River Thames. Hang on. Search. There it is. There, source of the River Thames. So, you know, if you look at that, all it would take is a little bit of underwatering. Because this green bit is a lot of hills, to be fair. All it really would take is, you know, there's a bigger river up here. What's that? Thames Severn Canal. Okay, it's not quite the same thing. But all it really would take is for this to go under a bit, because there's spots of water here, and then spots of water here, and then there's a river going across here. That's all it would take. And then the River Thames technically chops off the bottom of the UK. So it's really not actually that far-fetched. And I think actually it was my mother that told me that, thinking about it while we were looking. So let's... as we hold my mother in loving accord, or not, as the case may be, you know, I'm not going to pretend that everything that woman said to me was true. But in that situation, she's not far wrong. I mean, probably at one point it did. Just not now, or in my lifetime. Even when it flooded, you know. Let me just pin this up. See, yeah. But it's not that far-fetched, see? It really isn't. I also seem to recall that they reckoned that they floated some of the stones for Stonehenge down on a river from Wales. Well, there is no direct river from Wales to Stonehenge. So, in which case, maybe there was, you know, at least at that point. I mean, one of the things that my gran instilled in me as a child was it is interesting how things have changed over the years. Place names especially. But 1, 2, 3, 4, that's not enough. It's because I need you as well. All right. So it is, you know, place names change, things get washed away, especially the Isle of Wight. For those who are not overly British, the Isle of Wight is the tiny spit of land that lives just below Southampton in the UK. It's possible for even a child, hello, age 10, we did it, to walk from top to bottom in an afternoon. Well, the thing is, I mean, if you think, the Egyptians built the pyramids on sand with stones that are colossally heavy. And yes, they had hundreds of slaves, but you still had to have the mechanics to make it move. They also cut stone like St. Catherine's Needle, which of course is not St. Catherine's Needle at all, but it is a monument thing from Egypt. However, this thing that is some like 20 metres tall, it's like 5 metres square at the base, whatever, was cut out of solid granite while lying down. But they didn't dig a big channel around it, like, say you and I might, where, a couple of extra meters wide to dig out this prize square in the middle. No, the cut was literally made in a gap like this. And it goes down the side and underneath. How in the name of mercy did they do that? They were cutting granite with absolute precision. And there is technology we have most certainly lost. The Aztecs did it. The Aztecs had huge stones and built things, in Did I not add? No, I didn't. So all of this stuff, it's been lost. And I remember reading, it was a child's history book. I was quite young. And right at the back, they even said, because we have lost the technology of how they did it, we can't even prove that it wasn't done by aliens. And this was in a history book. Admittedly, it was kind of a comedy, stylish history book. But it talked about aliens in the last chapter, and you're like, but you can't prove that they didn't. It's, higher beings came and gave them gifts and all those kind of rubbish. But you can't prove that they didn't. I mean, there's no proof that they did either, but, and I know I wound this again yesterday. But, if for the colossal amount of technology and intelligence that those people had, given the knowledge of the time. So the Mayans, worked out calendars and predicted things and weren't actually that far off. And how did they know? It's taken thousands of years for people to prove they were right or wrong. And, well, they were right. So, in more cases than not. Well, so, you've got to hold your hat off to these people. They did kind of know their shit. Just checking that I haven't screwed up. No. So, like the likes of Stonehenge, those rocks are not tiny, as we all know. So if they, quote, floated them down the river, there was probably great care taken, but even so, they worked out, they knew that river would take them from A to B. They knew how to get stupid stone on the floatable doodad and get it there and not lose it. Well, if we didn't manage that today, what does that say about what they achieved back then? It is, my gran instilled in me on how things have changed. Now, as I say, I was talking about the Isle of Wight. The Isle of Wight has things called shines. And in short, a shine is a bit of land that is constantly being washed away into the sea. They just happen to call them shines. It's a bit like fjords. Wow. As a child, we stopped at Stonehenge every year on the way to my grandparents, and I, to this day, have never actually got to see it. Because when I was a child, you could go up and touch it and sit on it and do all of those. But my parents weren't prepared to pay. And so I never got to. And now, of course, you've got to pay like a small mortgage to go anywhere near it, and you're held like 30 feet from it. Sweet. I must admit, it's... By the way, I've been to the pyramids. This is not a flex. I went with my dad when I was very young. And one of the things that is really quite apparent about the pyramids when you're there is how different it looks to the TV. Because in nearly every film and in every photo, they show you the Sphinx and the pyramids in the same photo. that's really not that practical today. I mean, they're not like hundreds of miles apart, but they're not exactly next to each other. And of course, in true human form, we found something beautiful, a crypts of the past with beautiful things in them and beautiful things on the wall. So what did we do? We destroyed it. All the walls are now bare. All the stone that actually had something on it has been chipped off and taken away so that, tourists can't get to it and damage it. If there is anything in there, you can't get to it to touch it, etc. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. There are no fans, even though there were arguably ventilation holes, sun holes, for want of a better word. There is no air in a pyramid, so all of your previous travelling companions who have gone in there and sweated, well, it's a bit ripe in there, and it's like 400 billion degrees in there. It's a little stone oven. I mean, it is a pizza oven. And you pay a small fortune and you go up there, you get to like the Queen's bed, Queen's room, and it's empty. It's just a stone room. There is nothing to see. It's kind of like a 10 by 6 room of nothing. And you're kind of going, I can't breathe, I've sweated my body weight out, and that's it. There's not even like pictures of what it was like when it was found. It's literally a blank room. I mean, you get to go in it, but you're... Yeah, one word of warning, when I went, which would have been 86? No, 88. 88. Traffic lights were optional. And stopping for the police was deemed optional. It was frightening. There's a roundabout and basically it's just bundle. Thanks, love. Makes mental note to send Christmas card of dog poo. Yeah. But I'll find you and haunt you. But it is kind of weird that places have changed, and the Isle of Wight considerably a lot. So I went there aged 10, I think it was, and it was last year infants, so I probably was 10 because my birthday is towards the end of the school year, and we went round a couple of the shines, and it was kind of like, they are quite pretty because, well, they just seem to be quite pretty. They always seem to be lots of interesting, lots of rocks and pretty plants and, all of this kind of thing. Anyway, while we were there, we went to Blackgang Chine, which is Isle of Wight's version of a theme park. Not really, but it's the Isle of Wight version of a theme park. So there's, I won't call it a roller coaster. There's a thing on a track. There's a maze. There's a hall of mirrors, or there was. There wasn't the day after. Well, there wasn't by the end of the day we went. There were a few places to go, things to do, ice cream to eat. We were there for the afternoon, and at a certain point we had to meet up back with the teachers. Obviously we were allowed a bit of free rein for a little bit. It was deemed there was only so much harm we could get into, and we were reminded not to, go past signs and, because you could fall in the sea, and you're like, yes miss, of course you can miss, right? Anyway, bunch of kids went to the Hall of Mirrors. And it didn't really float my boat, so I didn't go. I did something else. I played with the maze. I really liked the maze. Oh, we'll wait for the end of the ads. But oh, naughty Celt. They got to regret it. They got to regret their choices. But there's a smugglers museum. There was a holograph museum. We went to all of these things and had to do a big kind of sort of diary thing of your week away. And oh, Amy. Actually, that was Rory. Rory, little man. It's all right. Both of you. Really is. It's Mr. Gardening, the grass stealing man. And he's not stealing yours. Or at least not that I know of, anyway. I haven't asked him to. Let's put you in a stick because it's getting a bit daft. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, I do have to apologise because Friday is inevitably the day that Mr. Gardener Man comes, and he comes at a very specific time on strict instructions from my neighbour. He can't just do it sometime on the Friday. He must do it at an exact time or else. And it's going to clash with the stream pretty much every week. So the annoying whiny dog effect is going to be a very commonplace in this Friday stream. Because, of course, well, it's gardening season. And until kind of the grass stops growing, which is, of course, somewhere around about September, he's going to be doing this. And you two, thank you, Rory. Yes, I am aware. Mr. Russ is here. Yes. Russ the gardening man is here. I know. I can hear him I, unlike your good selves, however, do not feel this great need to stand at the front of the house going at him. No, yes, I don't. No, don't stick your nose on the end of the pins. That'll hurt. Yes. Don't nosebutt the hedgehog. Hello, children. Ow, don't flick your ears in my face. She does this a lot. She gets up and then she, rattles her head and smacks me with her ears. It really hurts. Does it not hurt your ears? Oh, you want to go down through the gap that doesn't exist? Amy! Oh, you annoying little brown thing. Children. Let's sort out some bobbins. You two go in here. And in here. Like that. Now, this is not 5. Where the hell did I not count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 2 extra. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's put you in a stick. Somewhere I am out of count. Now I do have a feeling there is one that might be 6. You still look like you've only got 4. Let's put you round the back. You, there it is. So, what we need to do is bring you down here. You get the first 4 out here. I knew it wasn't right. Stick. You go in there like that, and back round there. You slide up there, and you go in here. Oh, and I forgot to take a picture. I always keep forgetting to take pictures at the beginning when it's empty. Never mind. It's not like we haven't seen a triangle before. I'll use one of the others and pretend, which is what I do when I forget. So, let's take a picture of today, because I forgot to take a picture completely yesterday, so I didn't even think to take one at the end of the triangle. So, there is the turning of the corner. So, it is 10 to 4. I promised you that I would do around about 2 hours. It's a bit short because I started late and I'm finishing a hair early. But we got to a good spot to stop. So, a good spot to stop is a good spot. So I'm going to cover this all up. Now, as always, the plan is to stream late tomorrow. So we're talking maybe starting in 6 hours from now. But tomorrow, so 30 hours time, right? I do appreciate it, those who can come, because it makes me feel better having stayed up till stupid o'clock at night and starting streaming at really late at night and going on till stupid o'clock in the morning. So I appreciate each and every one of you who come. I appreciate all of you who come to see me today. I should say, do the like, subscribe, follow thing, but most of you are adults, you know how to use Twitch, and for those who are watching on YouTube, most of you know how to use YouTube, so if I say too much of that, it sounds like I'm desperate, right? So, I mean, apparently they've done studies, and you're supposed to say it kind of like at the beginning of the video, but the problem is, especially here, people come and go. They don't start at the beginning like they would on YouTube. And so, if you walk in and I've been doing it for 3 hours, well, unless I constantly bang on about it, it's not going to be near the start of your viewing, is it? So, it's not really a me thing. I mean, I'd like it if you follow. I would like it if you, hell, I'd love it if you subscribed. But I don't expect anyone to. It is... I'm doing this for me, and I'm hoping to have your company while I do it. I do get a little bit sad when it seems desolate, but I get over it, you know. But we have a net curtain to make. We are on square 28 after all. Dear God, is it 28? But it is. We're on, it's not square 28, triangle 28. It's got less sides than a square. But we're on triangle 28. You know, we've done nearly 7. We've done nearly a third, right? We're getting there. I know it's not that near a third, but, we're getting there. We're truly getting there. Once we finish this one, 2 more and we'll have done half. So, I don't hate it. I just kind of... I'm not in the mood this week. Anyway, I'm going to take my grumpiness and my anti-Midas touch elsewhere. And I'm going to go and play fetch in the garden with the dog. Because it's sort of sunny, but my golden garden is encroached by a tiny tree. Nautical, I can share with you the tree of encroachment. It is a huge tree. And even though the sun is in the perfect angle to cast plenty of sunshine across my back garden, it can't because there's a tree slap bang in the way. But I shall see you all soon, I hope. Mostly tomorrow night. If not tomorrow night, Sunday. And if not Sunday, Monday, etc. So I hope to see you all again soon, and I hope you have a good day. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.